The Real Housewives franchise has grown into a behemoth one over the years, with multiple cities airing at any given point on Bravo and streaming with a Peacock subscription. Some shows are more popular than others, and The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is arguably one of the best reality shows on the air. Oscar-winning actress Emma Stone would likely agree, and she went to wild lengths to see Jen Shah in person after her arrest. "I started watching RHOSLC largely thanks to Jen Shah's arrest, which basically happened on camera and resulted in her being sentenced to 6 years in prison. While Shah was released early, Emma Stone actually was there when she was sentenced." While speaking with W Magazine, the Superfan explained how this went down, sharing, "She wasn't kidding about that investment. While I never miss an episode of Salt Lake City, I haven't gone to seek out the women IRL. But that's exactly what Stone did, walking from her home in New York over to the courthouse where Shah was being sentenced back in 2023. Someone let her make a cameo in the reunion already. After all, Nicki Minaj got to appear on Potomac back in the day. A big reason why RHOSLC became a hit back in Season 2 was when the feds came to arrest Jen Shah outside of Beauty Lab Plus Laser. While she fled filming prior to their arrival, the episode was riveting TV, especially the rest of the cast's reaction on the Sprinter van. After years of maintaining her innocence, Shah eventually pleaded guilty for charges, including defrauding the elderly. Peacock. Costing as little as $7.99 a month, you can also pay more for Peacock Premium or Peacock Premium Plus and enjoy ad-free streams and the option to download titles to watch offline later. Of course, Emma Stone is a fan of the show as a whole, and not just due to the saga of Jen Shah's legal issues. In the same interview, she went on to give two-season Salt Lake City star Bronwyn Newport a shout-out for her bold fashion choices. She said, "She's not wrong." On top of her wild fashion, Bronwyn has been bringing the drama this season, particularly her conflict with Meredith Marks in the season finale. What's more, the trailer for the 3-part reunion showed her admitting she and her husband are officially separated. I have to wonder what Emma Stone has to think about that. New episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City air Tuesdays on Bravo as part of the 2026 TV schedule and stream the next day on Peacock. As for Emma Stone, she's got serious awards season buzz for Bugonia, recently getting a Golden Globe nomination for her performance. Corey was born and raised in New Jersey. Graduated with degrees theater and literature from Ramapo College of New Jersey. After working in administrative theater for a year in New York, he started as the weekend editor at Cinema Blend. He's since been able to work himself up to reviews, phoners, and press junkets, and is now able to appear on camera with some of his favorite actors, just not as he would have predicted as a kid. He's particularly proud of covering horror franchises like Scream and Halloween, as well as movie musicals like West Side Story. Favorite interviews include Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, Jamie Lee Curtis, and more. Emma Stone may be one of Hollywood's most respected and private A-list actresses, but when it comes to reality TV, she's just as deep in the fandom as anyone scrolling Bravo Twitter at 2 a.m. And one show in particular has completely taken over her watch list: The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. More specifically, Emma Stone's fascination centers on one of the most controversial figures Bravo has ever seen, Jen Shah. What started as a casual confession has now turned into one of the most unexpected pop culture crossovers, and fans are stunned by just how intense Emma Stone's RHOSLC obsession really is. During recent interviews and conversations with fellow celebrities, Emma has openly admitted that The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City isn't just background noise for her, it's must-watch television. She doesn't just tune in casually. She studies it. She follows the drama closely. And according to her own words, she became so invested in Jen Shah's storyline that it turned into a full-blown mission. Emma revealed that while watching RHOSLC, she was completely captivated by Jen Shah's larger-than-life personality, her explosive confrontations, and the shocking legal scandal that ultimately led to her prison sentence. Like millions of viewers, Emma found herself asking the same question: how did this all happen in plain sight? But unlike the average viewer, Emma didn't stop at watching from her couch. She admitted that she became obsessed with the idea of seeing Jen Shah in real life, before everything completely unraveled. At one point, Emma said she actively hoped to run into Jen while out in public, especially during trips where RHOSLC filming or cast sightings were rumored. Not for a selfie. Not for a fan moment. but simply to witness the energy of Jen Shah up close. According to Emma, there was something surreal about watching Jen on screen. The designer outfits, the constant declarations of innocence, the intense loyalty demands, and the way she dominated every room. Emma described it as watching a character so extreme that it felt scripted. Except it wasn't. That's where the obsession deepened. Emma Stone has spent her career portraying complex characters, many of them morally gray, unpredictable, or emotionally explosive. And in Jen Shah, she saw a real-life version of someone who felt almost cinematic. She's reportedly said that Jen's presence on RHOSLC felt like watching someone who didn't just live drama, but was drama. As the legal case against Jen Shah unfolded, Emma's interest didn't fade. In fact, it intensified. She followed the headlines, the court updates, and the reactions of the RHOSLC cast. She paid close attention to how Jen maintained her innocence on camera, even as evidence mounted. Emma found the contrast between reality TV performance and real-world consequences absolutely fascinating. At one point, Emma even joked that the entire saga felt like a psychological study, how power, fame, and denial can collide in the most public way possible. What shocked fans most, though, was Emma's admission that she genuinely wanted to understand Jen Shah as a person, not just a headline. She wasn't rooting for her actions, but she was deeply curious about her mindset. How someone could live such an extravagant life under constant scrutiny while allegedly running a massive fraud scheme. For RHOSLC fans, hearing this from an Oscar-winning actress felt surreal. Suddenly, Emma Stone wasn't just a celebrity name reacting to Bravo content. She was one of them. A viewer yelling at the screen. A fan replaying scenes. Someone debating cast dynamics and motives. And the Bravo fandom embraced her instantly. Social media exploded with reactions, with fans calling Emma one of us and joking that she deserved a seat at the reunion couch. Memes popped up imagining Emma doing confessionals, breaking down Jen Shah's behavior like an acting masterclass. Some fans even speculated that Emma's interest goes beyond fandom. Given her love for complex characters, people started wondering whether a future project inspired by the RHOSLC scandal could ever happen. A limited series? A dramatized adaptation? Nothing has been confirmed, but the idea alone sent Bravo fans into a frenzy. What makes this story even more compelling is how it highlights the cultural impact of the Real Housewives. This isn't just reality TV anymore. It's modern pop mythology. When an actress of Emma Stone's caliber openly admits she's obsessed, it reinforces how powerful these stories have become. Jen Shah's rise and fall wasn't just a Bravo moment. It became a cautionary tale, a character study, and a media spectacle that reached far beyond reality TV audiences. And Emma Stone watching it all unfold like the rest of us? That's what makes it so wild. In the end, Emma never did get that in-person Jen Shah sighting she hoped for. Jen's guilty plea and subsequent prison sentence closed that chapter permanently. But the impact of the story clearly stuck with her. Emma has since said that RHOSLC remains one of the most gripping reality shows she's ever watched, and Jen Shah remains one of the most unforgettable figures she's ever seen on screen. Not because of glamour, not because of fame. Emma has explained that RHOSLC stood out to her because it felt unpredictable in a way scripted television rarely achieves. The arguments felt raw. The friendships felt fragile. And at the center of it all was Jen Shah, a woman whose presence seemed to distort the entire atmosphere of the show. According to Emma, every scene involving Jen carried an intensity that made it impossible to look away. Whether Jen was throwing lavish parties, clashing violently with castmates, or declaring her innocence with absolute conviction, there was always an underlying tension. Emma noticed how even quiet moments felt charged, as if something was about to explode. That constant edge is what pulled her in. Emma has said that she started rewatching certain episodes, not for entertainment, but to observe behavior. The shifts in tone, the emotional reactions, the way Jen spoke to different people depending on the situation. To Emma, it wasn't just reality TV, it was an unfiltered look at human psychology under pressure. As the federal investigation into Jen Shah became public knowledge, Emma's interest took on a darker layer. She watched how the cast reacted in real time. Some distanced themselves. Others defended Jen fiercely. And Jen herself doubled down, insisting she was being targeted unfairly. Emma found that contradiction fascinating. On one hand, viewers saw mounting evidence and legal documents. On the other, they watched a woman on television acting as if everything was business as usual. Emma has reportedly said that watching those episodes felt unsettling because the audience knew something the cast didn't, or didn't want to accept yet. That disconnect between truth and performance stuck with her. She also paid attention to how fame played a role. Emma noticed that Jen's identity was deeply tied to status, designer clothes, expensive trips, and public admiration. Losing that image seemed unthinkable. Emma believed that might explain why Jen fought so hard to control the narrative, even when the situation was spiraling out of control. For Emma, RHOSLC became a case study in how reality TV can blur moral boundaries. Cameras reward dramatic behavior. Viewers react to chaos. And sometimes, those incentives push people to keep going long after they should stop. What truly shocked fans was learning that Emma didn't just talk about this privately. She openly discussed it with other actors and creatives. She compared RHOSLC to long-form storytelling, where consequences unfold slowly and painfully, without a neat ending. She's even said that Jen Shah's storyline made her uncomfortable in a way that good art often does. It forced viewers to question their role as spectators. Were they watching for entertainment, or were they complicit in turning someone's downfall into spectacle? As Jen Shah eventually pleaded guilty, Emma felt the story reach a chilling conclusion. The bravado vanished. The legal reality settled in. And the larger-than-life character viewers had watched for years was suddenly reduced to court dates and sentencing headlines. Emma has said that moment made her reevaluate how she consumes reality television. She didn't regret watching RHOSLC, but it changed how she saw it. The glamour, the feuds, the iconic one-liners suddenly felt heavier when viewed through the lens of real-world damage. Victims existed. Families were affected. And no reunion episode could wrap that up cleanly. Still, Emma maintains that RHOSLC remains one of the most compelling reality shows ever produced, not because of luxury or drama, but because of its honesty. The cameras didn't cut away when things got ugly. They kept rolling. And Jen Shah, for better or worse, allowed it all to be documented. Fans were stunned to hear an actress of Emma Stone's stature speak with such depth about Bravo television. Many expected irony or humor, but what they got was respect for the medium and acknowledgement of its power. Online, Bravo fans praised Emma for articulating what many felt but couldn't explain. RHOSLC wasn't just shocking. It was unsettling because it was real. Emma never tried to excuse Jen Shah's actions. She's been clear about that. But she believes the story matters because it exposes how charisma and confidence can sometimes mask serious wrongdoing, especially when cameras and applause are involved. Today, Emma still follows discussions around RHOSLC, even as the show moves into new chapters without Jen. For her, the impact of that era can't be erased. It reshaped the franchise and permanently changed how viewers understand the risks of reality TV fame.